everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies, and today we're going to be reviewing Avatar: The Way of Water, the long-awaited sequel to the 2009 James Cameron sci-fi movie. Right now I'm going to have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, runtime, and PAA rating. All of that will be up on screen for you to read right now. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on Avatar: The Way of Water. But without further ado, let's get right into the pros. Alright, starting off, I really like how they went ahead and expanded this Avatar universe out farther from what we saw from the previous movie, which came out in 2009. And I like all the new stuff that they introduced here in this second movie, like the Metkayina tribe, which is essentially the water Na'vi. I really like that they went ahead and introduced more sides to Pandora and more different tribes on that planet, and the Metkayina tribe was a great addition to the franchise. I also like how they went ahead and explained how Quaritch is back to life even though he died in that previous movie. They found a great way to not only bring his character back, but to bring him back as an avatar, and I really like the explanation there. I also like the planting of the seeds for some of the things that will be explored in the remaining 3 Avatar sequels that we have from Fire and Ash this December all the way to the 5th movie all the way in 2031, mainly towards the character of Kiri, Sigourney Weaver's character. There's a lot of mystery with her character, and she does seem to have a connection to Eywa, and I can't wait to see what James Cameron has in store for the character of Kiri within these next few Avatar movies. I also liked all of the characters that we got in this movie, not just the returning characters like Jake Sully, Neytiri, and Quaritch, but also the new characters that we got in here, like the children of Jake Sully, Lo'ak, Neteyam, and Neytiri, along with the adopted daughter Kiri, like I mentioned earlier, and the human adopted son Spider. All of them were pretty good in this movie, and I liked some of the things that they did with those characters, especially with Lo'ak and that Tolkien whale. I really like how they played out like that relationship between Lo'ak and that Tolkien whale. Like some great things in the movie. And I also like the character of Spider, who is essentially the son of Quaritch, the original Quaritch that we saw from that 2009 movie, but he was adopted by the Sully family, and I really like that they had that character in here, even though the Sully family did not immediately go into action trying to save him when Quaritch and the RDA capture him. But yeah, I thought he was a pretty good character in this movie, and I also think that he will be a very important character for the future of this franchise based on what we saw from the trailers for Fire and Ash. Also, this movie is 3 hours and 12 minutes long, and some people might not like that that movie is over 3 hours long and that they can't sit through that, but I really like that this movie was 3 hours and 12 minutes long because it spent a lot of time exploring the Metkayina tribe, their lifestyle, their animals, and their traditions. Like, I really like that James Cameron went ahead and spent all that time dedicated to exploring this Metkayina tribe and how they go about living their lives. Like, they could have honestly done that through like a montage with the Sully family learning the ways of the Metkayina tribe and the Way of Water, but I like that James Cameron was like, no, we're not going to be doing that, and we spent a lot of time exploring this tribe, and I think it was very effective once the RDA go ahead and starts invading like these different villages in the Metkayina tribe looking for Jake Sully. I really like that they went ahead and spent all that time dedicated to exploring that Metkayina tribe. I also like the action sequences that we got in this movie. While I think there are less action sequences from what we got compared to the first movie, I do think that they make up for that with that epic final battle towards the end of the movie with the Sully family and the Metkayina tribe versus the RDA on those Metkayina oceans. Like, that was just very awesome to see, and especially because of the biggest pro that I can give this movie, which is essentially the same that I can give for that first movie, the CGI, because the CGI in this movie is so good. And this was also a time where CGI just starting to look a bit odd and wonky, mainly in comic book movies like Thor: Love and Thunder and The Flash, where they had very bad CGI. But yeah, the CGI here for Avatar is very awesome to see and also beautiful with all of the underwater stuff that we get from the Mechaina scenes. And it was also awesome to see that James Cameron actually shot these scenes underwater. Like, that was the main reason why we didn't get this movie back in like 2017 or 2020, just because they weren't able to film the underwater scenes with the mocap suits on at that time, and it was continuously delayed. But I really like that Cameron went ahead and did that here for the Avatar movies, filming these underwater scenes with the actors in those mocap suits actually underwater. It was also great to see those amazing CGI effects on the big screen, because they do look so good on that big screen. And I did get to see this movie twice in theaters, once when it initially came out in 2022, and the other just this past weekend during the re-release, where I got to see this movie in IMAX 3D, where it was my first ever IMAX experience. In fact, I still have the wrapper for the IMAX 3D glasses, just as like a little memorabilia from that experience. But I liked both times seeing this movie on the big screen, both in the regular format in IMAX 3D, especially in that IMAX 3D format, not only because it was the first time I saw a movie in IMAX, but because the 3D as well was also very cool. Like, you got some shots where it seems like that the arrows from like Na'vi are gonna come out directly out of the screen and onto the seeds. Like, that was just a cool experience, and I haven't seen a movie in 3D in 8 years. The last time I did was for Cars 3 back in 2017, and it was just cool to see a movie in 3D. And once Avatar: Fire and Ash comes out in December, I'm definitely gonna be wanting to see that movie in IMAX 3D, because it's gonna look so good in IMAX and 3D. But at the end of the day, this was a movie that took well over 13 years to release in between its original, and I think James Cameron went ahead and succeeded on it with not only making a great movie, but making a movie that is better than the original, which is something that James Cameron is famous for with Aliens and Terminator 2. I really like this second movie, and it has me very much more excited to see what they could go ahead and do with the franchise moving forward, not only with Fire and Ash in December, but with all of these other sequels that we have in 2029 and 2031. This movie was, in fact, the main reason why I wanted to check out that first Avatar movie in the first place. It was back when this one was coming out. And yeah, I really was glad that I was able to see this movie in theaters, because this is the perfect movie to watch in theaters. So for my scorecard, I'm gonna give Avatar: The Way of Water 5 stars, with the score out of 10 being 10 out of 10, with the percentage being 100%, with a grade of A+, with my final verdict being amazing sequel worth the 13-year wait. But that was my review for Avatar: The Way of Water. I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys' thoughts on this movie? Go ahead and leave your thoughts down in the comment section, and while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video, and have a great day.